I figured we would do a story time while I work on this project. I just got my box from Green Velvet Creative Co. Connie does an amazing job. She uses the Wise Owl paint products and she literally curates each box to match her paint. So that's what I'm going to work on. And while I work on that, I figured I would go into a story time of why I chose to leave my teaching job and do reselling full time. So when I always talk about that, you kind of have to always go into, of course, kind of the context clues behind a story. And I figured I would start there. So I have known pretty much nothing but teaching um, I taught infant and toddlers. Like that was what I had a CDA, my child development accreditation, and that's basically all I had done my entire life. I until 4 years ago. I just basically taught that age group, and I had worked for my mom, so it was a family run business, and that's all I had ever known, um, up until deciding to do a career path change. So for me, I was not only a caregiver to all these children, I also am a mom to, I now have 5 boys, but at the time I had 4 boys. And my grandmother was starting to, at the time, um, get signs of Alzheimer's and dementia. And I ended up becoming one of her caregivers. I took her to all of her doctor's appointments and just made sure that she was um, able to get to those appointments. And I helped my grandpa when I could. And she had physical therapy because she had fallen off a bike. So I would literally, at this time, one of my sons, he had to wear braces on his legs, and I would literally do his appointment and her appointment, and we would just do. They were in the same buildings, and we would just like flip flop and make it work. Like it was kind of an insane time in my life. This was pre world shutdown COVID. And so it was kind of intense, kind of crazy, and I was balancing it all. Um, and then COVID happened, and the world completely shut down, including my job. So I went from basically working full time. When I would have a baby, I had 2 babies while I was in this. I would literally come back to work pretty quick because I would be going back to work with my mom, and I could bring my baby with me. So they would be like 2 weeks old, and I would be back to work, which now I know that wasn't healthy. And I also was starting, looking back, I do know, and I've been diagnosed now, that I had postpartum depression, and I didn't even know it. Like, I was just like in such a, this is what you have to do, this is what you're going to do mode, that I was not even taking care of myself whatsoever at all. I was taking care of everybody around me, though. And I feel like I was doing it pretty well, taking care of everybody around me, because that's what you do when you're a caregiver. You want everybody else to be taken care of. So I continued to do this up until COVID. And when COVID hit, it just got really interesting because my grandma, actually, we decided at that point that she would need to be put in a nursing home, which was super hard, um, because my grandpa had, like, he had been mainly her sole caregiver at home 24/7, but it just got to the point where it was too much on him, and he was like in his late 80s, and it was too much altogether. So we decided that she needed to go to a nursing home, And between that and like me actually being at home during COVID, something in me just started to kind of shift. And I really can't explain what the shift was. It was just a shift. And I was like, I cannot continually do my job. And like, I was burnt out. I was severely burnt out. So I ended up starting selling on eBay. One of my friend's husbands, he started his business reselling and kind of was like, hey, you could probably do this. So that's what I did. I started off and just started reselling, and I absolutely loved it. Um, and that has been basically some form of that business has been going on for the last 4 years. Um, so that is why I just lost basically the like ability to keep showing up every day and giving everybody else my all. I just knew that I had to like eventually like show up for myself, and that's what I did. So it was really difficult though at first because like I said prior, I this was a family ran business, so my mom owned it. So I kind of felt it was very hard to leave and not feel like there was going to be some like rocky situation between us. At first, like that's kind of how I felt. Like I felt like, oh my gosh, like there's no way, like we're going to be able to make it through this, and our relationship is going to come out unsevered. And honestly, it got better. Like I did have a little store for a while, and when I opened up that store, my mom came to my soft opening, and like she gave me a hug and told me she was so proud of me. And I feel like that was kind of part of like the okay, everything's gonna be okay between us. Um, and like looking back, like it was a scary leap. I feel like anytime you decide to change career paths, especially when that's the only career path you know, it is really hard. And like I come from like my parents' generation, like you just did not like I feel like they were the generation like you had a job and that's the job you stuck to. Like nowadays I feel like people just go in and like they flip-flop jobs all the time and stuff like that. And like that was not like the way I seen things going, or like I seen that you should be like I felt like I was kind of taught in a way that like once you start a job, you need to stay in that job because that was the generation of what people were doing, like my parents' generation. Um, and I was raised by a single mom, so like I knew like she had started her business from the ground up, and I would say she is very successful. Does an amazing job. She is definitely an entrepreneur. She, in a way, a lot of like the artsy stuff and the entrepreneur things, I 100% got from her, um, because she's amazing. Like she can just do anything and like make it work. Like it's crazy. So that is that was like probably the hardest part in this whole situation was just like kind of feeling that like oh my gosh, I'm letting everybody down around me because I'm deciding to do like quit my job and resell full time. So at that time, like I said, I was just doing like I would sell on Macari, if you guys remember that. That's like the site I started out on. I now like kind of despise that site because I feel like it's a pain in the butt to sell on. But I started on Macari, and that's where I first started flipping things. And then I transitioned over into eBay. Um, and then I opened up my own store. And the whole time I was on eBay, um, the whole time I had my store, I still sold on eBay too. I kind of was doing both. Um, but then in like my grandparents ended up passing away 2 years apart from each other, And it like honestly like in a way like wrecked me because they were basically like they pretty much helped raise us. Like being having a single mom, like we never really felt like we had a single mom because our grandparents were always there for us. And it made me just like feel this giant shift in my heart that like the business I was running was like way too crazy. Like like me and my family were at our store 24/7. um we were never home. Like I mean anybody that like that lives like close to that store was like, do you ever go home? And I'm like, I feel like I don't. So we were always at that store. And we sold like basically home decor and some of the items I handmade, of course. And it was just, like I said, really just a hard point in life after I lost my grandparents. And I knew then that basically a shift had to happen in our like life to have balance. And more than anything after like their passing, I realized we have to have some sort of a balance because like I am only going to get a shot at being a parent once. So I feel like the whole like time was nothing but transition. So like I transitioned into being a business owner. I realized that running a store full time was not going to really work. But at the same time, like leaving the daycare was also the whole point of that was to make sure I was shifting into a time to where I could like better take care of my family. So I really just felt like this giant like shift kind of take place, like I said. And I was like, okay, something is like, it's not working. Like, I have to leave this too. And so, like, it was really hard. I was like super mad. I was even mad at God because I was like, okay, you led me. I feel like everything I've done, I've prayed about before I've done it. And I'm like, now I'm like, I just feel like I'm constantly being led into this, like, you're going to try this and then it's not going to work. And then you're going to have to reshift and reconfigure. And then it may not work again. Like, that's how I felt. Like, I felt like everything I was doing, I just had to keep shifting gears and trying over. So I quit we shut down the store. It was really a hard, difficult decision. And I was just kind of like, okay, like, God, here I am. Like, what, like, I have not a darn clue at this point what you have in store for us. Because everything that we had been doing has been kind of like a train wreck. Like, I feel like we're on the right path and then we're not on the right path. And I was just like, I don't know, like, basically at this point, what you really want from me, but I'm like giving you my all. So I don't really know what to do at this point. So then in hindsight, now looking back, I can see exactly where I was supposed to be and how this was all supposed to configure. So um, one day I got a call from a number I did not know, and it was actually my son's, one of my close son's friends, um, needed somewhere to go, and he had entered foster care. So at that point, I was like, absolutely, we will become foster parents. And we were able to open our home up. We became licensed foster parents in the state of Indiana. And honestly, like looking back, like I see like God's fingerprints all over this. Like even though I felt like he was like taking so much from us because I quit my job because I thought that's what I was supposed to do, and then we opened up a store because I thought that's what we were supposed to do, and it didn't work. And I was just like, what on earth is like going on here? But looking back, I see his fingerprints all over it. Like, so we had to close that store basically so that I would have the bandwidth, me and my husband both, to become foster parents. And there's no way on earth we could have done that if it hadn't been for us, like, not having that store in our way. So I knew right away that, like, that's what we were supposed to do. And fast forward, um, I missed the store so much. What I missed about the store was, one, the creative outlet of being able to set up the store and get out of the house, do those types of things. I missed that so much that I really was like, okay, what could I do that would make me be pretty much a business owner, a store owner again? I mean, I still was selling on eBay, still selling everywhere else, but that I could still have a feeling of doing something outside the home. And I realized that becoming a booth owner would be the perfect solution. So that is how Living in Joy booth, our booths at the Antique Mall, kind of all stepped into place. Is basically just realizing that we needed, I needed another creative outlet, because I feel like when you have a creative mind, and a lot of teachers I think do have creative minds, like your brain just does not shut off, and you kind of just need that outlet. And I 100% needed an outlet. So that is what we did. We opened up in October both of our booths, and one booth, and now we've extended to, as you know, we have 4 booths total. And I am just kind of like using YouTube as another creative outlet, a way to kind of show you guys the ins and outs and answer all the questions that I wanted to know when I was first starting. And yeah, that's kind of where we're at. So if you guys want to know more about my journey, just hit that follow button and you can follow along.